的鲛人必须要讨本宫欢心。
我只听一个人的话。云河，
你不会真的以为我爱上你了吧？太可笑了。
Welcome to the Cineverse. This time we're going to discuss a stunning epic drama, The Blue Whisper. Get ready to be swept away in a beautiful story filled with emotion and wonder. Let's get started. At the beginning of the film, a narration introduces a world above the nine heavens, a place known as the Eternal Realm. Within this realm are two of the most powerful and influential clans, the Divine Clan and the Demon Clan. The Divine Clan is tasked with maintaining order and peace, ensuring that the Demon Clan does not create chaos or destruction. This realm is inhabited by spirit trainers, individuals entrusted with the noble task of educating, training, and transforming fierce creatures, including demons, for the better. This peace is disrupted when an old woman enters the Wanhua Valley in search of the divine grass flower. After a long search, she finally finds it, but it turns out to be a trap designed by a beautiful woman named Yunhai, the best spirit trainer in the valley. Yunhei warns the old woman to surrender and not resist, but the old woman, who is actually Goho, a legendary bird demon, underestimates Yunhei's spiritual abilities. Goho is known as a powerful and ferocious demon. Although the disciples of Wanhua Valley manage to trap her using a spiritual formation, Goho easily breaks through their defenses. One by one, the disciples are thrown and tossed aside by Goho's immense power. Concerned for the safety of her comrades, Yunhei tries to stop Goho's rampage by showing her a baby bird she recently found. It turns out that the baby bird is the main reason Goho is searching for the divine grass flower. She wants to use the flower to help the bird cultivate its powers. Goho then reveals the reason behind her actions. 120 years ago, a massive fire swept through the southern and western mountains, claiming the life of Goho's own child. That loss left her in misery, and she now seeks to fill the void by taking the baby bird in a desperate attempt at hollow happiness. However, Yunhai disagrees. She believes that Goho's act of stealing the baby bird from its parent is profoundly wrong. To make Goho see reason, Yunhai uses the Eternal Mirror, which shows the past. In the mirror, Goho sees the reincarnation of her child as a human, living a happy life with their family. The child even advises their father to release the bird from its cage, saying that true happiness lies in freedom, not in clinging to a painful obsession. Realizing her mistake, Goho finally apologizes to the baby bird and surrenders her core spiritual power to Yunhai. She chooses to undergo punishment at the Eternal House to atone for her sins. Not wanting the baby bird to die, Yunhai instructs her companion Shaoxing to return the bird to its clan, where it will be safe and cared for. The next day, in the Wanhua Valley Assembly Hall, the elders gather to determine which disciple is worthy of becoming the valley's leader and guardian. Hawking, one of the talented young disciples, presents the spiritual core of a rhino demon he defeated. The elders are amazed because, at such a young age, Hawking has managed to conquer a ferocious demon known to be nearly impossible to defeat. However, Yunhai suddenly arrived and presented Goho's spiritual core to the elders. Her appearance shifted the dynamic, drawing everyone's attention. Although Hawking had defeated a demon with sheer strength, the ferocity of the demon he subdued was no match for the legendary bird demon Yunhai had overcome. The difference was that Yunhai had subdued her opponent not through violence, but through compassion and understanding. Realizing this, the elder praised Yunhai's approach and advised Hawking against rushing to kill demons solely to obtain spiritual cores. The elder emphasized the importance of experience and maturity in making decisions. Impressed by Yunhai's extraordinary skills, the elder appointed her as the primary trainer and guardian of Wanhua Valley. As an honor, she was also gifted 2 magical items. However, behind this recognition, the elder harbored a hidden plan. Curious and slightly skeptical of Yunhai's abilities, especially considering her success in taming one of the strongest demons, the elder decided to test her. Using his spiritual power, he measured the strength of the new guardian. His assistant, knowing that Yunhai's power had already reached its peak, quickly urged the elder to stop the test. A month later, Yunhai was approached by a senior valley official named Zhongshangxi. He asked her to prove her abilities by releasing a ferocious creature sealed within a large chest in front of the disciples. Despite understanding the risks, Yunhei didn't want to disappoint the elders, and decided to accept the challenge. When the seal was broken, the creature Changjin, a legendary merman from the East Sea, emerged with overwhelming power. The disciples nearby were thrown back and injured by the sheer energy of the creature. Yunhei attempted to interact and calm Changjin but failed, as the creature's spiritual energy was too immense. As the situation grew more chaotic, a sudden arrow shot swiftly, weakening and incapacitating Changjin. Hawking, with his expert archery, appeared to resolve the problem. However, as he attempted to destroy Changjin's tail, Yunhei stopped him, believing that violence would only worsen the situation. Amid the tension, the Queen of Wanhua Valley suddenly arrived. Her presence commanded immediate respect, and the elder quickly escorted Yunhei and the other disciples to the Grand Hall. In the Grand Hall, the Queen issued a command. Changjin must be tamed, taught to speak, remain loyal to Wanhua Valley, and acquire human legs. This order sparked protests from the elders, who felt that altering Changjin's natural form would be cruel to the creature. However, Hawking, driven by ambition, eagerly accepted the task. He saw it as an opportunity to attain higher status and earn a reward from the Queen. Not wanting the task to fall into the wrong hands, Yunhei also volunteered. The Queen approved and declared a competition. Whoever tamed Changjin first would receive a special reward from her. The next day, Hawking and his loyal followers arrived at the Coronation Cave, where Changjin was imprisoned. There, Hawking attempted to speak with the mythical creature, urging Changjin to repent and submit to him. However, the merman gave no response. Feeling slighted, Hawking ordered his assistant, Tsuyu, to teach a lesson. Tsuyu immediately unleashed a thunder seal spell, causing immense pain to Changjin. The attack was intended to force the creature into submission. Despite the pain inflicted by Hawking's thunder seal, Changjin remained steadfast in his resolve. He chose to endure the suffering, rather than bow to their demands. Seeing his efforts fail, Hawking commanded his followers to leave the cave and devise a new plan. Shortly after Hawking's departure, Yunhei arrived at the Coronation Cave. Her friends, who initially intended to accompany her, decided against it out of fear of facing Changjin's wrath. With full courage and conviction, Yunhei entered the cave alone to meet the merman. Inside the cave, Yunhei noticed an arrow still lodged in Changjin's tail. Seeing the wound, a wave of compassion filled Yunhei's heart. However, each attempt to approach Changjin caused him to lash out in anger. Yunhei tried to calm him, explaining that she only wanted to help heal the wound. Moreover, Yunhei read Changjin's thoughts, uncovering the creature's longing for freedom and his desire to return to his homeland. Yunhei promised to help Changjin leave Wanhua Valley, on the condition that he behaved well and controlled his emotions. Hearing these sincere words, Changjin began to trust Yunhei and allowed her to treat the wound. As a gesture of friendship, Yunhei gave Changjin a cloth to cover himself. However, when she attempted to remove the arrow from Changjin's tail, the arrow activated a magical trap set by Hawking. The enchanted snare began to harm Changjin's tail, causing the creature great pain. Not wanting Changjin to suffer further, Yunhei quickly used her golden shield to counteract the magic. After a fierce struggle, Yunhei managed to break the arrow's snare. She then advised Changjin to remain patient and conserve his spiritual energy to prevent unnecessary depletion. Elsewhere, Hawking sensed that something was amiss. He returned to the cave and found Yunhei with Changjin. Hawking dismissed Yunhei's efforts, deeming them futile, as he believed Changjin was too feral to be tamed through gentleness. To prove his point, Hawking once again activated the Thunder Seal. This time, however, Changjin recalled Yunhei's words about using strength wisely. Once again, Hawking unleashed his spiritual Thunder Seal to teach Changi a lesson and force him into submission. This time, however, Changi recalled Yunhei's words about using his remaining strength wisely to resist Hawking's cruelty. With newfound resolve, Changi harnessed the Thunder Seal's energy, pulled the arrow from his tail, and launched it back at Hawking, striking his cheek and leaving a wound. Hawking, enraged by the injury, accused Yunhei of teaching Changi to fight back. Yunhei firmly replied that taming a creature as fierce as Changi required kindness and love, not violence and coercion. With his assistant injured by the arrow's strike, Hawking reluctantly retreated to tend to his wounds. Meanwhile, Yunhei returned to check on Changi, who had begun to change. To everyone's astonishment, Changi's body had transformed into a human form, revealing a pair of beautiful legs. Yunhei, unfamiliar with this phenomenon, asked her friend Miss Lu Shakt to explain Changi's condition. Miss Lu revealed that Changi was a creature capable of living in two worlds. On land, he could use his legs to walk, while in water, he relied on his tail for swimming. To ensure that everything remained peaceful, Yunhei promised to provide nutritious meals and a comfortable bed for Changi. The next day, she prepared a wholesome meal with the intention of helping Changi recover from his internal injuries. Changi, feeling shy and flustered, was touched by Yunhei's care and attention. Not wanting to disturb Changi while he ate, Yunhei deliberately moved to another spot to let him enjoy the food she had prepared. As expected, Changi ate heartily, clearly savoring the meal. Yunhei tried to encourage him to speak, hoping to learn the details of how he had been captured and trapped in Wanhua Valley. However, Changi ignored her questions, choosing instead to remain silent and keep his story to himself. When Yunhei noticed that Changi had nothing to drink, she intended to fetch water and quench his thirst, but Changi stopped her, using his spiritual energy to manipulate water and quench his thirst. Despite his weakened condition, it was evident that Changi's control over his spiritual power was not yet fully restored. The following day, Yunhei decided to use the most potent medicine of Wanhua Valley to aid Changi's recovery. However, Miss Luwak forbade her from doing so, explaining that the medicine was a unique concoction created over decades, reserved for treating Yunhei's own internal injuries. Even Yunhei herself had never used it for her own healing. Despite this, Yunhei couldn't stand seeing Changi in such a miserable state, so she secretly gave him the medicine. Meanwhile, in the cave, Hawking appeared once again to manipulate Changi. He warned him not to trust Yunhei too much, accusing her of merely fulfilling a mission for the Queen of Huangho Valley to tame him. Changi, influenced by Hawking's words, began to distrust everyone around him. Shortly after, Junhao arrived at the cave with the intent of healing Changi using his own rare medicine. However, Changi coldly threw the medicine away and even snatched Yunhei's badge, which signified her role as a spiritual trainer and guardian under the Queen of Wanhua Valley. Misunderstanding the situation, Changi accused Yunhei of having ulterior motives. In response, Yunhei explained that she too had endured similar torment and had been forced to comply with the valley's harsh rules to survive. She confessed her longing for freedom and assured Changi that her intentions were pure. Yunhei also expressed that she had no desire to harm him, as she deeply understood the pain he was experiencing. Feeling guilty, Changi began to reflect on Yunhei's words. After she left, he cautiously retrieved the rare medicine she had given him. Trusting her sincerity, he consumed the medicine. Almost immediately, Changi's body began to emit a radiant white glow, signifying that his spiritual energy was being restored. Elsewhere, Shao King approached Yunhao in the temple and informed him that the atmosphere in the cave had become as hot as a boiling cauldron. This was due to Hawking casting a spell to force Changi to open up and submit to him. Upon learning this, Yunhei found a clue in an ancient book she had read. It described how merfolk were beings that valued kindness and righteousness above all. If Hawking intended to subdue Changi through violence, Yunhei resolved to take the opposite approach, vowing to save Changi and lead him out of the ceremonial cave. When Yunhei arrived at the cave, Miss Luwak tried to pull her back, warning that Hawking's spell was so intense that it could cause Changi to burn to death. However, Yuni refused to abandon her efforts, determined to rescue Changi and guide him to safety. Not stopping there, Yunhei instructed Ronaldo and Jackson to mislead and delay Hawking's troops, who were on their way to capture Changi. As expected, they were intercepted by Hawking's forces. Meanwhile, Yunhei used the remaining time to forcibly drag Changi out of the cave to escape. The troops, realizing the woman before them was not Yunhei, rushed into the cave to stop her from taking Changi away. However, their efforts were in vain. Changi was already gone. Yunhei, sensing that Hawking and his followers would soon arrive, warned Changi to stay hidden until the situation improved. She reassured him that as long as she was by his side, she would never let the people of Wanhua Valley harm him again. Sure enough, Hawking and his troops were already waiting for Yunhei at her doorstep. There, Hawking threatened her, declaring that aiding a prisoner's escape was a grave crime punishable by death. Hearing this, Yunhei only smiled, countering Hawking's threat by claiming that Changyi was not with her. Furious, Hawking ordered his troops to search Yunhei's house for Changyi. However, Yunhei stood firm and stopped them. Not stopping there, Yunhei brought out an ancient artifact to intimidate Hawking and his troops. This action escalated the tension, especially when Miss Soyo launched a sudden attack, further intensifying the atmosphere. Certainly, here is the text from the image you provided. Simultaneously, Ping Zong, Hawking's assistant, arrived to mediate the situation. Realizing the disturbance, Ping Zong instructed everyone to report the conflict to the Grand Elders and explain the matter in the temple. Hawking defended his actions by claiming he had successfully subdued and coerced the merman Changyi into speaking. The elders, skeptical of his claims, demanded evidence and instructed Yunhei to present Changyi before them. The next day, Yunhei, despite her injuries from Miss Soyo's poison attack, attempted to fulfill her promise. Miss Luwook, saddened by Yunhei's state but unable to help further due to already giving her best medicine to Changyi, was also at a loss. Moved by Yunhei's determination, Changyi used his merman abilities to extract the remaining poison, causing him to collapse. Upon regaining consciousness, Yunhei expressed her gratitude and confided in Changyi about her dream of escaping Wanhua Valley together. That night, Yunhei began devising a plan to leave the valley, which was heavily guarded. The following morning, Yunhei appeared before the Grand Elders to present Changyi and prove her success. However, before the demonstration could proceed, a raging bull spirit attacked, disrupting the proceedings. Fortunately, Sanwei, one of the valley's strongest disciples, managed to subdue the bull spirit. The incident left Yunhei's mission in disarray. Changxi, still influenced by Hawking's manipulations, felt betrayed and accused Yunhei of deceiving him. His trust in her shattered. The Grand Elders, unwilling to waste time, ordered Yunhei to proceed with her proof. However, Changyi, distrusting Yunhei, refused to cooperate. Seeing her failure, the elders decreed that Changyi be sent back to the ceremonial cave as punishment for breaking the valley's rules. Yunhei was also punished by being barred from meeting Changyi for 3 days. Concerned for Changyi's well-being, Yunhei decided to sneak into the cave to check on him. There, she encountered Sanwei, who was assigned to guard Changyi. Sanwei warned Yunhei to leave before he had to take action against her. Ronaldo, aware of Sanwei's overwhelming spiritual power, persuaded Yunhei to retreat. Meanwhile, the elders also punished Hawking, banning him from meeting Changyi for 3 days after learning he had used a bull spirit to sabotage Yunhei's efforts. To ensure fairness in the competition to subdue Changyi, the elders prohibited anyone from entering the cave until the punishments were lifted. Sanwei then ordered everyone to leave the cave immediately. That night, Yunhei discussed strategies with Miss Luwook atop a tree. While pondering their next move, they spotted a young man walking stealthily. Growing suspicious, Yunhei decided to follow him. They discovered that the man, Linzu, was a mountain cat spirit and guardian from a rival clan. Lindsay was secretly celebrating a special occasion with his lover, a forbidden relationship in Wanhua Valley. Realizing the potential leverage, Yunhei devised a plan to collaborate with Lindsay, offering him and his lover a chance to escape the valley in exchange for their help. The next morning, Yunhei confronted Lindsay, revealing she knew of his secret. Fearing exposure, Lindsay reluctantly agreed to assist Yunhei and Changyi in their escape from the valley. Seeing the situation, Yunhei decided to take advantage of it by attempting to recruit them to join his plan. Since they had broken the strict rules of Wanhua Valley, which forbade romantic relationships between members, Yunhei realized that if the queen or the elders found out about the violation, the death penalty would await them both. The next day, Yunhei met with Sengju again. In their conversation, Yunhei revealed that he knew about Sengju and his lover's actions under the purple flower tree. Therefore, Yunhei offered to cooperate with Sengju to help them escape from Wanhua Valley and live a free life without the control of the elders. However, Sengju, feeling cornered by the exposure of his secret, became defensive and promised that he would not let Yunhei live longer if he betrayed them. Let me know if you have any other questions. Realizing that his spiritual power was not a match for Sangju's, Yunhei decided to bring Chang'e as proof of his good intentions. In the increasingly desperate situation, Yunhei devised a plan to make Sangju believe that he truly wanted to cooperate. He even lied, claiming that he and Chang'e were also a couple, to create sympathy from Sangju. In the midst of the tense situation, Ronaldo suddenly informed them that Zhaoxing and his army were heading toward the cave where they were. Hearing this, Yunhei, who did not want his plan to fail, quickly pushed Chang'e back into the seal so his presence would not be detected. Sangju, who was in danger because of his involvement with Yunhei, tried to calm the situation by lying to Hawking. He said that he had intentionally called Yunhei to the cave to show his success in making Chang'e speak. Hawking, who had known Sangju for a long time, believed his words because Sangju was a respected figure with a perfect reputation in Wanhua Valley. However, in his heart, Hawking still harbored suspicion toward Yunhei. As the situation became more heated, Hawking continued his confrontation with Yunhei, even threatening to kill everyone involved to keep his secret safe. Yunhei, under pressure, continued searching for ways to protect Chang'e and prove his sincerity to Sangju. However, time was not on his side, and the threat from Hawking's side was becoming more real. Yunhei, who had his own motives and objectives, tried to explain and reveal the hidden place behind the Wanhua Valley. Upon arriving at the location, Sanyu felt an intense chill in the air. It was there that Yunhei explained to Sanyu and the others that this place was a mystical site intentionally concealed by the Elder Master, serving as a punishment ground for rogue spirit trainers who defied him. Furthermore, Yunhei disclosed the existence of an ice seal that the Elder Master had placed on every spirit trainer. The seal was not only a symbol of loyalty, but also a seal of death. It was called the Death Seal because it could freeze blood and block all spiritual powers, ultimately leading to death. As a commander and a strong spirit trainer in the Wanhua Valley, Sanyu found it difficult to trust Yunhei's words. Sanyu knew the Elder Master better than Yunhei, and even owed him a debt of gratitude for raising and training him. Reluctant to argue further, Yunhei urged Sanyu to try unleashing his spiritual power to break and remove the death seal on his back. True enough, Sanyu's powers were instantly blocked, rendering him unable to remove the seal. At this point, Sanyu was convinced of Yunhei's claims. Any spirit trainer who rebelled or tried to escape the Elder Master's rules would meet an untimely death. In Yunhei's eyes, spirit trainers were nothing more than chess pieces under the control of the Elder Master, Ling Kanglan. To further prove the truth, Yunhei showed Sanyu a recording of his past from when he was a child. In the footage, Yunhei witnessed the Elder Master's cruelty as he murdered spirit trainers who were deemed traitorous or disobedient. The site where they now stood was none other than the graveyard of spirit trainers who had succumbed to their unbearable conditions. Yunhei then persuaded Sanyu to join him in escaping from the Wanhua Valley, to live a normal life free from orders and control. Sanyu agreed, yearning for the freedom to love openly without secrecy or forbidden relationships. The next day, Yunhei and Kangyi's relationship grew closer and more romantic. Not wanting to see Yunhei suffer or get hurt again, Kangyi promised that, when the time came, he would take Yunhei to the peaceful and tranquil underwater palace. Meanwhile, Sanyu and Lansu's relationship also deepened and became more intimate, and they vowed to live their lives together completely, until death did them part. However, their actions were secretly discovered by one of the guardian disciples, who reported the suspicious events of the last 3 days in the Coronation Cave to Nonazuyo. Upon hearing this, Nonazuyo immediately informed Hawking of Yunhei's covert activities. Without wasting any time, the true Elder Master, King Sun, gathered everyone in the Lingfeng Hall. Wishing to proceed quickly, Assistant Kingston reminded them all that the greatest and most severe punishment in Wanhua Valley was falling in love with one another, particularly between spirit trainers and spirit servants chosen from the earthly realm. For this reason, he assembled them after receiving a report from young Master Hawking regarding unusual events tied to matters of the heart and feelings of love. As a result of this prohibition, the assistant intended to test and measure their emotions using the Eternal Goddess Mirror. This mystical mirror could reveal and confirm a person's feelings with just a single drop of blood. Naturally, if they harbored feelings of love, the blood drop would merge on its own. Hearing this, Junhai grew anxious, especially as Sanyu and Lansu were not in a good state. Lansu, not wanting to put his beloved in danger, intended to leave the valley altogether, believing he was unworthy to remain in Wanhua Valley. However, his departure was halted by King Sun. Noticing Talaking was injured, King Sun decided to postpone the blood test until the following day and ordered his troops to take Lansu to the exile cave. Meanwhile, Ronaldo, unwilling to see his unit in peril, worked tirelessly to study ancient spiritual texts in hopes of finding a way to thwart the blood drop test. Sanyu, concerned about Lansu's condition, sought him out in the punishment cave. There, he was startled by the sudden appearance of Nonazuyo. Nonazuyo's reason for approaching Sanyu was to persuade him to cooperate in framing Yunhai and destroying the eternal mirror in the temple, ensuring Yunhai would face severe punishment. Nonazuyo also assured Sanyu that he would ensure Lansu's safety in the punishment cave. Not long after, Nonazuyo also approached Yunhai in his chamber, urging him to destroy the eternal mirror to prevent their misdeeds from being exposed. Acting swiftly, they silently entered the location where the eternal mirror was kept. Without hesitation, Yunhai shattered the mirror, but at that exact moment, King Sun and his entourage entered the temple. Using cunning tactics, Sanyu managed to reverse the narrative and pin the blame on Yunhai to avoid being implicated. Witnessing the situation, King Sun prepared to impose the heaviest punishment on Yunhai. However, Yunhai, renowned for his exceptional strategic prowess, revealed the eternal mirror still intact and perfect before King Sun. Taking things further, Yunhai boldly urged King Sun to commence the ritual, allowing the truth to surface about which trainer harbored romantic feelings toward their spirit servant. Heeding this, King Sun ordered his troops to retrieve a blood sample from Sanyu in the cave. With full confidence, Yunhai demonstrated before everyone that his blood and Sanyu's blood did not merge, proving he had no romantic feelings toward him. Nonazuyo was visibly shocked by this, and accused Sanyu and Yunhai of plotting something beforehand. However, without evidence, Nonazuyo was dismissed as nothing more than a mad dog barking on a hill. Yunhai then called for Xiao to undergo the same test to verify his feelings. With a heavy heart, Xiao dropped his blood onto the eternal mirror, and indeed, the test confirmed that their blood did not merge, signifying no romantic feelings. Witnessing this elaborate charade enraged both Nonazuyo and Hawking, who accused King Sun of conducting a false test. Yunhei, unwilling to waste the opportunity, suggested to King Sun to test the blood of Hawking and his servant. However, Nonazuyo suddenly launched an attack at Yunhai, shattering the eternal mirror. Despite this, Yunhei seized the moment to prove that the mirror was not a fake as others had claimed. True to his word, the blood immediately merged, revealing that Nonazuyo secretly harbored feelings of love for her master. In the exile cave, where Nonazuyo awaited the Elder Master's return to carry out her death sentence, she appeared sorrowful, lamenting her inability to fully serve and assist young Master Hawking. Her repeated failures to defeat Yunhai weighed heavily on her. Determined not to die in vain, Nonazuyo resolved to avenge the suffering she had endured, opting for an honorable death rather than one cursed and pitiful. Feeling sympathy, Yunhai decided to visit Hawking in his place of exile. There, she spoke frankly. "Young Master Hawking, surely you don't wish to die, do you? You reap what you sow. There's no smoke without fire." As Yunhai was about to leave, Sanyu informed her that Nonazuyo had escaped from the Cave of Exile. Moments later, Nonazuyo launched an attack in an attempt to kill Yunhai. However, Hawking, with his superior abilities, easily intercepted the assault and instantly eliminated his servant. This swift action came after Hawking had previously instructed Nonazuyo not to meddle in his personal affairs or harm Yunhai. Following the incident, Sanyu warned Yunhai to remain cautious of Hawking, believing that he could become a dangerous individual in the future. That night, Yunhei visited Lansu at his resting place. Together, they began to plan how to obtain the antidote to be freed from the death curse imposed by the Elder Master. At the same time, Sanyu arrived, expressing disappointment as he disliked the idea of one alliance on top of another. If he wasn't involved, he wouldn't hesitate to attack Yunhei Ahoy. Therefore, he would always contribute to Yunhai's mission to secure the antidote hidden by the Elder Master. Around midnight, Yunhai devised a strategy to escape from the heavily guarded Wanhua Valley. She explained to them that the valley was protected by the 10-pillar seal formation, which had also been used to imprison the legendary bird, the phoenix, more than 1,000 years ago. She recounted the chaos caused by the phoenix, which had devastated humanity in the mortal realm. The spirit trainers, desperate to prevent further loss of life, had joined forces to seal the phoenix within the 10-pillar formation. Yunhai proposed that they find the core of the 10-pillar seal to release the phoenix, giving them an opportunity to take the antidote hidden by the Elder Master. Lansu volunteered to create a diversion, allowing Yunhai and San Yu to search for the antidote. Their plan was extremely risky, with failure meaning certain death for everyone involved. Lansu volunteered to create a diversion, allowing Yunhai and San Yu to search for the antidote. Their plan was incredibly risky, with failure meaning certain death for all involved. Lansu worked tirelessly to locate the core of the 10-pillar seal, as a mountain cat spirit with a sedative to ensure he wouldn't be endangered if caught. As a mountain cat spirit, Lansu possessed unique tracking abilities, which he used to locate the hidden core of the 10-pillar seal. Hawking, who had been aware of Yunhai and Sanju's actions from the beginning, approached King Sun to prove the crimes they had secretly committed. And indeed, without much time, Hawking managed to deceive Sanju, who had just woken up from his sleep. Not only that, Lansu was also successfully framed by King Sun in front of the exile cave. At that moment, they were caught red-handed for committing the greatest crime in the Wanhua Valley, having a secret relationship. Hawking then approached Yunhai in the cave, where she was being intimate with Cheng Yi. It was there that Hawking told Yunhai to come to the hall to witness Sanju being punished for breaking the valley's rules. Upon arriving at the hall, Yunhai asked Hawking not to hastily decide on their punishment, and told him to wait for the Elder Master to finish his meditation. Hawking, who had the authority of course, refused this request because he himself would be punishing Sanju, and, as per the order of the Elder Master's assistant, he would erase and destroy their spiritual power core and expel them from the Wanhua Valley. Naturally, Yunhai was shocked to hear Hawking's words, because she had no power or authority to stop Hawking in such a desperate situation. Sanju decided to fight back and launched an attack, because he had no other choice. Lansu said that he would destroy the Wanhua Valley right then and there. And indeed, Lansu activated the seal before anyone else could, to revive the phoenix that had been sealed for thousands of years. To do that, he had to sacrifice himself to save the love of his life. Finally, Lansu succeeded in releasing the eternal phoenix, named Master Qin. The phoenix unleashed destruction upon Hawking's forces. Sensing his son was in danger, Master Qin intervened to save Hawking from the phoenix's wrath. Taking advantage of the chaos, Yunhai tried to retrieve the antidote to the death curse hidden by Ling Chanlan. Realizing that Yunhai was a significant threat, Ling Chanlan ordered his troops to subdue and reseal the phoenix. However, their efforts proved futile, as their power was no match for the mighty phoenix. San Yu, realizing that he had been manipulated by Lansu to find the location of the 10-pillar seal in the Wanhua Valley, felt deeply betrayed. He was extremely disappointed to have raised Lansu as his spiritual servant. Filled with sorrow, San Yu decided to sever the master-servant bond by returning his spiritual energy core to Lansu. Not wanting to see the Elder Master perish, Lansu launched a powerful attack on the phoenix. However, the attack was quickly dodged by the phoenix. Lansu, not wanting his lover to get hurt, sacrificed himself by becoming a shield to protect his life. Meanwhile, Yunhai managed to find the antidote to the death seal hidden by the Elder Master. When Zhao asked about the antidote, Yunhai, who didn't have much time to explain, simply urged Xiao to leave the Wanhua Valley at the first opportunity. Furthermore, Yunhai ordered Lanzhou to escape from the valley with the antidote they had found. In his final moments, as his body began to crumble, Lansu asked Master Qin to take San Yu out of the Wanhua Valley so that he could live freely. True to his word, Master Qin easily broke through and destroyed the seal of the spell formation, carrying San Yu out of the valley. The next day, the Grand Elder ordered all disciples of the Wanhua Valley to search for Yunhai and Cheng Yi, who had gone missing. The Grand Elder vowed severe punishment for Yunhai's actions, which he deemed to have violated the valley's rules. Additionally, Zhao Xin was shown being tortured in the punishment cave. He innocently admitted in front of them that he genuinely didn't know Yunhai's whereabouts, due to the effects of the battle. The Grand Elder's condition grew increasingly critical. Before King Sun, the Grand Elder declared that he would not squander the opportunity and effort he had invested over hundreds of years. It was evident that the Grand Elder had a hidden mission that had yet to be revealed. Elsewhere, Yunhai and Cheng Yi were shown to be in a place once inhabited for tens of thousands of years by the Phoenix. They had been drawn into the 10 Pillars seal while attempting to escape the Wanhua Valley. Unwilling to part ways, Yunhai declared to Cheng Yi that no matter what happened in the future, he would always stay by his side. Hearing this, Cheng Yi gave Yunhai a mermaid pearl as a token of his loyalty. With courage, they leaped together into a swirling vortex in hopes of escaping the 10 Pillars seal. However, the next day, Yunhai and Cheng Yi were found incapacitated. The vortex had spun them back into the Wanhua Valley, thwarting Yunhai's plan to escape what he deemed a cursed place. It didn't take long for Yunhai to be put on trial in the Lingfeng Hall for violating the valley's rules and deserving the harshest punishment. Clever as he was, Yunhai defended himself, stating that his actions were not wrong, as he had been inadvertently pulled into the active 10 Pillars seal, leading to him and Cheng Yi falling inside. He claimed he had tried to protect Cheng Yi to keep the Eternal Queen from becoming angry, and blaming the valley for failing to safeguard the mermaid she cherished. However, Yunhai's arguments were countered by the elders, who accused him of deliberately planning an escape with Cheng Yi. The elders proposed to the Grand Elder, Ling Chenlan, that Yunhai be sentenced to 20 lashes as a warning not to repeat such misconduct. At that moment, Cheng Yi arrived at the Lingfeng Hall to defend Yunhai, saying Yunhai had saved him when they fell into the 10 Pillars seal. Not wanting to appear weak, the Grand Elder ultimately decided to cancel the punishment, impressed by Yunhai's success in enabling the mermaid to speak in his presence. Yunhai, seeking to avoid further trouble, asked Cheng Yi to escort him back to the coronation cave. The Grand Elder, witnessing Yunhai's accomplishments, felt proud and summoned Yunhai to face him. Yunhai walked painfully, weakened after the Grand Elder had infused his body with energy. Lady Lu Wei, seeing Yunhai in distress, administered an antidote to alleviate his pain. However, Yunhai's attempt to neutralize the spiritual energy within him failed, as the chosen spell was not the antidote they had hoped for. It turned out that the Grand Elder had anticipated Yunhai's actions and movements beforehand. Additionally, King Sun revealed to Yunhai that the Grand Elder had done this to save the Wanhua Valley, by testing the implantation of spiritual power into Yunhai's body. The next day, the Grand Elder invited Hawking to visit his son, who was recovering. The Grand Elder informed Hawking that Yunhai and Cheng Yi had been found. Furthermore, King Sun noted that Yunhai had completed the first phase by enabling the mermaid to speak. Eager to impress, Hawking assured his father that he would successfully complete the second phase, which involved obtaining and cutting off the mermaid's tail. Wasting no time, young Master Hawking visited Cheng Yi in the coronation cave, intending to forcibly sever Cheng Yi's tail. Hearing this, Cheng Yi refused to let anyone take his tail. At this moment, Hawking informed Cheng Yi that the ice seal curse on Yunhai's back had been reactivated, leaving Yunhai unable to survive for much longer. Hawking used this as leverage, threatening Cheng Yi to surrender his tail in exchange for saving Yunhai with an antidote. Meanwhile, Yunhai was shown writhing in pain. Without the antidote, he would lose his life in 3 days. Shortly afterward, a Wanhua Valley soldier informed Hawking of Yunhai's deteriorating condition. Despite their frequent disagreements, Hawking, as an adoptive brother, still cared for Yunhai's well-being. Elsewhere, Xiao Jing was shown visiting Cheng Yi in the coronation cave. Xiao conveyed a brief message from Yunhai, urging Cheng Yi not to trust anyone's words under any circumstances. Upon hearing this, Cheng Yi asked Xiao Jing to take him to Yunhai, but Xiao Jing refused, deeming it an inopportune time. Growing increasingly desperate, Cheng Yi worked to break the protective spell before him. Out of pity, Xiao Jing eventually agreed to Cheng Yi's request. However, unexpectedly, young Master Hawking appeared and attacked Xiao Jing, sending him flying. Hawking's arrival at the cave served as a reminder for Cheng Yi to carefully weigh his choices if he wished to prevent Yunhai's death. At this point, Hawking takes Cheng Yi to see Yunhai's true condition. Unable to bear seeing his lover in pain and on the brink of death, Cheng Yi ultimately decides to cut off his tail in exchange for the antidote that is in Hawking's possession. This is when Cheng Yi becomes an ordinary human, no longer able to return to the Eastern Sea Palace. Indeed, thanks to the antidote, Yunhai recovers. However, she is shocked to see Cheng Yi's true condition. For his sake, Cheng Yi has lost something very precious for his future life. Furious and understanding that this was all Hawking's doing, she draws blood as she strikes him in front of Yunhai. Hawking remarks that they are now evenly matched in their competition, even though his actions were somewhat cruel. Soon after, Hawking presents the essence of the mermaid's tale to his father, asking, "Are you satisfied with this?" His father responds, "Do you hate me?" Hawking answers that he does not dare hate or defy the strongest person in the Wenhua Valley, but he longs for the sincere affection of a father, just as others experience. Not only that, Hawking also says that he lives in the Wenhua Valley, like water in a jar. Hearing this, the Elder Master feels deep sadness because his actions are considered evil by his own son. It is then revealed that when Hawking was young, he had a beloved pet fox. At that time, King Sun brought a little girl, Yunhai, to Hawking because Hawking wanted a sister. Naturally, Hawking was overjoyed and loved Yunhai like his own sibling. Ling Chanlan had a specific purpose. He intentionally trapped Yunhai and Hawking's pet fox on the edge of a cliff to make Hawking choose whom to save, as both were precious to him. Hawking didn't make a choice, and instead asked his father to release and save both of them. Fortunately, Hawking was able to save Yunhai from falling off the cliff. Ling Chanlan, dissatisfied with the fox's death, asked Yunhai to push Hawking into the cliff filled with venomous snakes. He did this to train Hawking to become more ruthless. Yunhai refused Ling Chanlan's demand because she cared deeply for her brother. It was at this moment that Ling Chang activated the death seal for the first time, forcing Yunhai to obey Ling Chanlan's commands for 2 days and 2 nights. Young Yunhai felt an intense cold that nearly took her life. In her weakened state, Ling Chanlan gave her a medicinal potion to save her, forcing her to carry out the task of pushing Hawking into the cliff. The next day, Yunhai took Hawking on a walk, leading them to a cliff. Doubtful, Yunhai tried to control her emotions to avoid pushing her brother, but it was beyond her control, as King Sun manipulated Yunhai to make Hawking fall into the cliff. It was then that Hawking first met Miss Zuyu, who saved him from the venomous snakes. However, Ling Chanlan's years of efforts to make Hawking more cruel were unsuccessful. Despite their enmity, Hawking still treated Yunhai well and considered her his sister forever. Ling Chanlan, aware of Yunhai's cruel act of slapping Hawking, punished her with 30 lashes. Hawking pleaded with the Elder Master to stop Yunhai's punishment, but his request was denied. The Elder Master ordered Hawking to replace King Sun and continue the punishment, as he was unable to do so himself. Hawking chose to destroy the spiritual whip and injure himself, rather than hurt his beloved sister. The next day, Yunhai and Hawking began to work together, as Hawking decided to help Yunhai escape from the Wenhua Valley so that no one would hurt her again. Not only that, Hawking also promised to help find the antidote so that the sealed trainers could be freed and live without fear. After careful consideration, Yunhai agreed to work with Hawking to gain freedom, as their current spiritual powers were no match for the Elder Master and King Sun. Yunhai was worried that their efforts would fail. At this point, Hawking told Yunhai about his father's condition, revealing that the Elder Master was injured from an old battle with the immortal Phoenix. Therefore, he invited Yunhai to train in forming seals so that they could trap and defeat King Sun. In the secret place, they began to train to form a seal formation. Yunhai, feeling tired, suggested they continue training the next day, but Hawking refused. He insisted that they continue training at night, because their time was very limited. They had to take advantage of the Elder Master's weakness. In the middle of his training, Yunhai kept an eye on the injured Cheng Yi. Not wanting to see Cheng Yi feeling depressed and bored, he invited Cheng Yi to enjoy the fresh air outside and showed him the plants cultivated by the inhabitants of Earth. Not only that, Yunhai also gave Cheng Yi some roasted tubers to help him understand that happiness can be created through simple things. Soon after, in the evening, Hawking visited his father again. Inside the room, his goal was none other than to check on his father's condition while pretending to give him medicine. As a father, Elder Master had his own way of keeping an eye on his son. He gave Hawking an antidote, so it could be used whenever he wanted. In the desperate midnight hour, Elder Master, who didn't want his meticulously planned scheme, which had been prepared over hundreds of years to fail, ordered King Soon to complete the secret mission he had devised. He was willing to sacrifice his life to channel his spiritual power into Yunhai's body. And sure enough, without much time passing, Elder Master began the ritual, along with King Soon. Days quickly passed, from morning until night, as Yunhai and Hawking continued to train hard to make the sealing spell they created work effectively. However, their plan was discovered by Elder Master and King Soon. Elder Master only smiled sweetly and ordered King Soon to write a letter in a secret room so that Hawking could find and read it. Not only that, Elder Master also said goodbye to King Soon for his loyal service of more than 300 years. As the time for parting approached, Elder Master asked King Soon to make him a final cup of tea, saying that he always enjoyed the tea King Soon made. Then, Elder Master returned the spiritual core to King Soon, signaling that he was no longer his spiritual servant. The next day, Zhao Jing met Elder Master in the Lingfeng Hall. He conveyed Yunhai's message that there was something very important they needed to discuss in private. After hearing this, King Soon bid his final farewell to Elder Master. Indeed, when they arrived at the designated place, Yunhai and young Master Hawking appeared before him. Since he already understood what they wanted to do, he chose to remain silent so that Elder Master's plan could proceed as expected. Not long after, they were visited by Zhao, who informed them that the servants of the Immortal Palace had left the Wenhua Valley. Yunhai heard this and told Hawking not to waste this golden opportunity to get the antidote and seize power to become the next ruler of the Wenhua Valley for the sake of peace. Upon arriving in that room, Hawking tried to negotiate with his father, stating that his actions had harmed many people. Not only that, Hawking also said he would take over the position of the Elder Master of Wenhua Valley. Of course, Elder Master rejected this, explaining that if he did not die, the succession of the Elder Master would not be recognized by anyone, because the Elder Master would surely possess cruel traits. Upon hearing these words, Hawking immediately launched an attack on his father, but his actions were in vain, as Elder Master had anticipated them. Hawking was also shocked when he realized that his father had been pretending to be disabled in front of others. Seeing that Hawking's progress did not meet his expectations, Elder Master was very disappointed and told him that he was not worthy of becoming the Elder Master of the Wenhua Valley. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yunhai grew suspicious because King Soon did not oppose him. This was when King Soon explained to Yunhai the truth about the Elder Master, who had hidden his lies from the public in order to carry out his mission of saving the Wenhua Valley. That was why he would not oppose, as he did not want the Elder Master's mission, which had taken hundreds of years, to fail in vain. At this point, King Soon exploded in failure and channeled all his spiritual power into Yunhai's body. King Soon, a nine-tailed fox from the strongest clan in the world, did this selflessly. On the other hand, the Elder Master suddenly fainted because he had also transferred his power into King Soon's body. After transferring all his spiritual power, King Soon told Yunhai that what he had done was in line with the Elder Master's main goal. Therefore, you are very important to the Elder Master and the Wenhua Valley. Hawking, who saw the true condition of his father, finally realized that the death seal on the backs of the spirit trainers was not his doing. In his final moments, the Elder Master urged him not to meet the same fate and death that he had once experienced in the future for the sake of the Wenhua Valley. As a faithful spirit servant to his master, King Soon chose to end his life with the Elder Master, telling Hawking that the puzzle of the Elder Master's words would be solved if he entered his secret room. At this point, they died, their mission unaccomplished. Hawking, curious about King Soon's words, immediately entered the secret room to find out what had really happened. There, he discovered a will deliberately written by his late father. The letter contained a message urging Hawking to save the people of the Wenhua Valley so they would not experience the same fate as he had. Hawking, who could not bear the truth, spent his days reflecting deeply. As a good brother, Yunhai tried to comfort Hawking, urging him not to be sad, because after the death of the Elder Master, he felt that the Wenhua Valley was becoming more mysterious. Hawking, not wanting to disappoint his late father, asked Yunhai to attend the ceremony where he would officially be crowned the new Elder Master of the Wenhua Valley. The next day, after comforting Hawking, Yunhai expressed his concerns to Luo, feeling that there was a secret Hawking was hiding since the death of Elder Master Ling Chanlan. Luo also informed them that the next day, Hawking would be crowned the Elder Master of the Underworld. Therefore, after the ceremony, Yunhai intended to ask Hawking to fulfill his promise to give him an antidote so he could leave the Wanhua Valley. And sure enough, the next day, Hawking entered the Lingfeng Hall with great authority. At this point, Hawking officially assumed responsibility as the new Elder Master. Hawking, unwilling to see the people of the Wanhua Valley fall into despair, addressed them, asking for their support to overcome these difficulties and restore the valley's reputation. After the coronation ceremony, Yunhai demanded that Hawking fulfill his promise to give her the antidote for her healing and freedom. However, Hawking, unwilling to let Yunhai leave Wanhua Valley, immediately ordered the valley's forces to surround her. On the other side, Wanhua Valley's forces also reprimanded those who opposed Hawking's actions, trying to resist him, yet their spiritual powers were blocked, rendering them powerless against him. Seeing this, Yunhai asked Zhao Jing about his whereabouts. Zhao Jing, not wanting to disappoint them, tried to calm Cheng Yi's anger by saying that he should not oppose Hawking's actions. If he still wanted Yunhai, he must listen to what was said. Cheng Yi trusted Zhao Jing's words because he knew exactly what would happen. The next day, Yunhai was imprisoned by Hawking to prevent her from leaving Wanhua Valley. Since Hawking's spiritual power was far superior, the seal was easily broken. He then approached Yunhai with a face full of hatred. Without hesitation, Yunhai threatened Hawking to immediately give her the antidote he had hidden. However, Hawking remained firm, saying that he would not give her the antidote. Cheng Yi, unwilling to go against his brother, showed him the secret place where Yunhai would understand the actions he had taken. There, Yunhai realized that the death seal on the back of every spirit trainer was not created by Elder Master Ling Shenlan, but by the Immortal Master from the Immortal House to control everyone in Wanhua Valley, preventing any resistance to his orders. This is why Elder Master Ling Shenlan had spent hundreds of years trying to find a way to destroy the death seal, using Yunhai as his first experiment, where Ling Chen combined two spiritual powers from the mortal immortal and heavenly immortal realms. Listening to Hawking's explanation, Yunhai told him not to intimidate her. However, Hawking's words were not idle talk, for among all the spirit trainers, only Yunhai was able to withstand the experiment. Although she knew her body had become an experiment, she decided to leave Wanhua Valley to save Cheng Yi from the grip of the Immortal Master. Hawking, not wanting to see his brother die in vain, asked her to stay until her father's experiment bore fruit. Meanwhile, worried about the arrival of the Immortal Princess, he immediately informed Hawking of her arrival. Here, Hawking and Yunhai welcomed the Immortal Princess, who suddenly arrived at Wanhua Valley. Her goal was to inspect and ensure that the mermaid could be subdued and obey her commands. However, this went against the wishes of the Immortal Princess, and she became enraged when the mermaid did not show loyalty to her. She then blamed the spirit trainers for not fulfilling the 3 demands she had set to tame the mermaid. Thus, the Immortal Princess took out her whip, intending to punish Yunhai. Cheng Yi, unable to bear seeing Yunhai, stopped the Immortal Princess's punishment and said that he would comply with all her demands. At the same time, the Immortal Princess was approached by Cheng Yun, a trusted disciple of the Immortal Master. Cheng Yun's purpose was to advise the Immortal Princess to stop her actions, as taming the mermaid was not as easy as she thought. He urged the Immortal Princess to give Yunhai time to truly tame the mermaid. The Immortal Princess, not wanting something bad to happen, deliberately cast a sealing spell to prevent Yunhai from trying to escape with the mermaid from Wanhua Valley. Yunhai, with a deep sense of sympathy in her heart, promised to free Cheng Yi so that he could escape the suffering he had endured. Meanwhile, Cheng Yu was checking Cheng Yi's condition at the sanctuary cave. Cheng Yi, aware that the person before him was a trusted disciple of the Immortal Palace, pleaded for assistance in reuniting with the Immortal Princess. Upon hearing this request, Cheng Yun readily consented. I hope this helps. Yunhai, knowing that Cheng Yi would be taken to Lutai Mountain, where the Immortal Palace was located, told Hawking to help her free Cheng Yi from the Immortal Princess's grip so he could live in freedom. After much consideration, Hawking reluctantly agreed to the plan, even though Yunhai's life would be at risk. The next day, it was clear that the disciples of the Immortal Palace were waiting outside the temple to take Cheng Yi to the Immortal Palace. Yunhai, with her own mission in mind, asked Cheng Yun to take the land route, as she wanted to gather flowers from the mortal realm to present to the immortal later. During their journey, Yunhai deliberately took Cheng Yi around to see the human race's activities. Yunhai's only desire was not to waste the little time left to be with Cheng Yi. That night, Hawking visited Yunhai in her camp. Here, He always gave her potions to help normalize the spiritual powers combined in her body and prevent it from endangering her life. If Yunhai's body weakened, her nerves would explode, leading to her death. This is why Yunhai did not want to waste her life, as she wanted the one she loved most to experience freedom. The next morning, Yunhai approached Cheng Yun, asking for permission to take Cheng Yi to enjoy the fresh air around the mountains. Not wanting to disappoint her, Cheng Yun granted her request. Yunhai was delighted to enjoy the cool air with the one she loved. She also took Cheng Yi to see the autumn festival celebrated by the human race. They laughed and enjoyed their time together, filled with happiness. Cheng Yi, not wanting to lose the woman he loved, gave her a red string and placed his hopes on the wishing tree, wishing that they would not be separated by fate or the future. As planned, Hawking ordered Zhao to signal that their time together had come. Yunhai then took Cheng Yi to a house she had prepared. This was where Yunhai would remove the binding seal in Cheng Yi's body, so he could live freely and return to the Eastern Sea Palace with his family. Following the plan and mission, Yunhai asked Hawking to watch over Cheng Yi until he woke from his unconsciousness, while she would return to the camp to face the punishment from the immortal princess for helping her live peacefully in a free world. Hawking, who had never agreed with Yunhai's plan from the start, certainly had another plan to save his sister from death at the hands of the immortal princess and protect Wanhua Valley from the death seal imposed by the immortal master. Of course, when Yunhai arrived at the camp, she was immediately approached by Cheng Yun, who asked where Cheng Yi was. Yunhai explained that she had freed Cheng Yi, so he could live peacefully in his own realm. Hearing this, Cheng Yun ordered his soldiers to track down Cheng Yi before the immortal princess found out. Hawking, unable to bear seeing his sister sentenced to death, chose to release Cheng Yi so he could save himself from the danger that was coming. Cheng Yi, who was captured, decided to fight the palace forces to escape with Yunhai. This led to a pursuit between them. Seeing this, Yunhai realized that she could do nothing to protect Cheng Yi because she had chosen to commit a great crime, sacrificing her life to help Cheng Yi escape. Yunhai, not wanting to see Cheng Yi captured again by the palace forces, forced him to release her hand and forget everything about her. However, Cheng Yi refused, saying that he would not escape if not with her. Yunhai then lied, claiming that everything she did was just an illusion to get and release what she wanted. She lied to Cheng Yi's heart and feelings, making him feel disappointed in her. To prove that her words were not lies, Yunhai stabbed Cheng Yi with her dagger. At that moment, Cheng Yi realized that the love and care Yunhai had shown him were all lies. With deep regret, Yunhai did this only to free Cheng Yi from the immortal princess's grip. But the obstacles were not over. The palace guards and the immortal princess managed to track Yunhai's trail. In a serious tone, Yunhai denied the immortal princess's accusations. It was told that, long ago, when the immortal princess and the palace guards crossed the Eastern Sea, she was swept away by a great storm. Thanks to Cheng Yi, the immortal princess survived until today. Yunhai, realizing the immortal princess's betrayal, understood that Cheng Yi sought revenge by killing them all to avenge the suffering Cheng Yi had endured. The immortal princess, not wanting Yunhai to live, ordered the palace guards to shoot fire arrows to incapacitate Yunhai. Just when it seemed everything would end, Yunhai rose with her combined spiritual power and destroyed the palace guards with a powerful attack, ending the life of the immortal princess. However, a golden light suddenly stopped her actions, causing Yunhai to be thrown back powerless. The figure was the immortal master, King Ning. Realizing that Yunhai was a rare being, ordered Cheng Yun to imprison her in the immortal palace for further investigation. From a distance, Hawking observed Yunhai's transformation and realized that the experiment his father conducted had succeeded. He began thinking of ways to save Yunhai from King Ning's grip. The next day, a soldier from the Eastern Sea Palace was found powerless by the river's edge. After seeing the wounded prince, he tried to heal his injuries, but his spiritual power could not connect to Cheng Yi's body. Since Cheng Yi no longer had the mermaid's pearl, Lu So, Cheng Yi's loyal servant from the Eastern Sea, appeared. Shortly after, Lu So was approached by Master Kong Ming, a trainer who had been severely wounded and almost died. He tried to transfer his spiritual energy and give a medicinal potion to help Cheng Yi regain consciousness, as Cheng Yi was in danger. Master Kong Ming urged Lu So to be cautious, as the palace guards were near. The palace guards, realizing that their greatest enemy from the heavenly palace was before them, chose to avoid battle to prevent unnecessary deaths. Cheng Yun also tried to approach and communicate with them. Seeing the blood drops on the stone, Cheng Yun concluded that the mermaid he was chasing was hidden there. However, due to the significant difference in their spiritual cultivation, Cheng Yun did not dare to force Kong Ming to surrender the mermaid. Failing in his mission, Cheng Yun declared before Master Kong Ming that he must be punished for his failure. Master Kong Ming then threatened Cheng Yun not to betray him if he wanted to live longer. Clearly, the immortal master knew Cheng Yun had met his greatest enemy in the mortal realm. Hearing this, Cheng Yun swore to always follow and obey all of King Ning's orders. Meanwhile, Yun Hai regained consciousness. Soon after, the elder master and Cheng Yun visited Yun Hai in her prison. In an instant, the immortal master discovered the plan Ling Chan had made for hundreds of years in Wanhua Valley, which involved combining the spiritual powers of heaven and earth as a tool to defeat him. Meanwhile, in the rest house, Kong Ming continued to desperately try to awaken Cheng Yi. He told Luso that he no longer had the spiritual power needed to fight the evil deeds done by King Ning for centuries. When Kong Ming saw Cheng Yi wake up, he recounted the dark past he had endured as a spirit trainer, where he witnessed all his relatives dying in horrific circumstances. This, he revealed, was the work of King Ning, whose ambition was to become a ruler so powerful that no one could defeat him, leaving him at the lowest point, without the strength to fight King Ning's cruelty. Master Kong Ming was then visited and advised by a young man and an old man, who gave him a golden lotus as a hint that he would find someone to help him in the future. That person was Cheng Yi. Cheng Yi, hearing this, apologized to Master Kong Ming, saying that he could not help him fight against the cruelty of the Eternal King. More precisely, Cheng Yi preferred to avoid involvement, choosing to let his clan live in peace in the Eastern Sea Palace. Worried about Yun Hai's safety, Cheng Yi could no longer remain idle and decided to take action to free Yun Hai from the grip of the Eternal King. Indeed, Hawking managed to break through and destroy the sealing spell created by King Ning. In that brief moment, Hawking tried to escape with Yun Hai, but his actions were noticed by King Ning, who immediately attacked Hawking, sending him flying. Not wanting anyone to defeat him and prevent him from becoming the ruler, King Ning activated the Death Ice Seal within Hawking's body, causing Hawking to feel the same pain that his deceased father had experienced. Additionally, the Eternal King warned Yun Hai not to attempt to escape from the prison room if she did not want her life to end tragically. With his plan to save Yun Hai failing, Hawking gathered Xiao and Ronaldo to return to the Wanhua Valley, where they would carefully strategize to save Yun Hai from King Ning's cruelty. The next day, the Eternal Princess learned of Yun Hai's whereabouts. Filled with deep hatred, the Eternal Princess began to torture Yun Hai at will. However, this time, the Death Ice Seal did not affect Yun Hai, who transformed into a nine-tailed fox. Yet, Yun Hai's efforts were thwarted by the Eternal King, who rendered her powerless again. Feeling unsatisfied, the Eternal Princess became even more cruel by administering a highly lethal poison, the most dangerous in the heavenly realm. However, her efforts once again failed, as the poison had no effect on Yun Hai's body. At that moment, she realized that the worldly pearl embedded within Yun Hai's body had protected her from all the tortures inflicted by the Eternal Princess. At this point, Yun Hai's body became more resilient to deadly poisons. Meanwhile, Cheng Yi was greatly shocked to see a golden light shining above the Eastern Sea Palace. This was not an ordinary occurrence, but rather the result of the disciples of the Eternal Palace sealing off the Eastern Sea Palace to prevent Cheng Yi from reuniting with his family. Witnessing this action made Cheng Yi furious, as his relatives and family were being sealed. Additionally, Xiao Xin revealed the Pearl of the Mermaid Queen to Cheng Yi. Knowing this, he tried to take the precious item that was vital for the survival of his palace. However, this turned out to be a trap and manipulation designed to recapture Cheng Yi. In a moment of desperation, a staff suddenly shot out, helping Cheng Yi in battling the Sky Palace soldiers in front of him. With a single strike, he overpowered the soldiers. However, Cheng Yi's injuries had not yet fully healed, making it impossible for him to endure for long. Fortunately, Master Kong Ming arrived just in time to assist Cheng Yi in fending off the Sky Palace soldiers and taking him away. In his unconscious state, Cheng Yi was visited by the King of the Eastern Sea, who turned out to be his biological father. Here, the king entrusted the future of the Eastern Sea Palace to Cheng Yi, confident that he would become a powerful ruler, capable of protecting his people from impending evil. Upon awakening, Cheng Yi resolved to collaborate with Master Kong Ming to exact revenge on the Eternal King for all the wrongs committed. Not stopping there, Cheng Yi also planned to rally allies from across the four corners of the world to unite against the atrocities perpetrated by the Eternal King. Guided by the Golden Lotus, Master Kong Ming set off to find the worldly immortals who resided in the northernmost region. The next day, Master Kong Ming and Cheng Yi arrived in the snowy plains, home to the worldly immortals. Here, they encountered the Ling Huang clan, a group of soldiers loyal to the Eternal King, King Ning. This clan was led by its eldest member, Master Zhao Ling. Under the Eternal King's protection, the Ling Huang clan acted arrogantly, capturing and plundering the Qin Kio clan, a fox clan they considered their enemy. True enough, Master Kong Ming was startled by cries for help. The fox clan was being hunted by Zhao Ling's monsters and soldiers. Unwilling to witness the fox princess's demise, Cheng Yi intervened just in time to save her. Despite the dire circumstances, he managed to deflect an arrow and escape with the fox princess. Zhao Ling, unprepared for Cheng Yi's counter, was thrown back, unable to react. Knowing that the woman beside him was a descendant of the Fox clan, Cheng Yi inquired about the whereabouts of the Fox King. The Fox soldiers, worried for their princess's safety, took Luso hostage to force Cheng Yi to release her. To avoid misunderstandings, Cheng Yi attempted to explain his intention to ally with the Fox King against the Eternal King. However, his words went unheard, and the Fox soldiers launched an attack on him. Certainly, here's the continuation of the story. Understanding their actions, Cheng Yi retaliated to de-escalate the conflict. Not wanting his mission to save Yunhai to fail, he called upon his assistant, Nonazo, whom he had hidden away to assist him. Hawking pretended in front of Yunhai and San Yu that Nonazo had died. In a secret chamber, Hawking and Nonazo conducted a cultivation experiment to suppress and destroy the Death Ice Seal created by the Eternal King. With sincere intentions and without expecting rewards, Nonazo offered to sacrifice his life to ensure Hawking's mission succeeded. Witnessing Cheng Yi's unresolved injuries, Master Kong Ming channeled his spiritual energy to protect Cheng Yi's spiritual core. Additionally, Nonazo provided herbal medicine to expedite Cheng Yi's healing, as time was of the essence. When Cheng Yi inquired about the Fox King's whereabouts, Kong Ming revealed that the Fox King had been captured after sacrificing himself to save his people from Zhao Ling's cruelty. Upon learning this, Cheng Yi and Kong Ming planned a rescue mission to free the Fox King from Zhao Ling's grasp. Nonazo cleverly pretended to capture Cheng Yi to locate his father, who was hidden by Zhao Ling. Believing this was a golden opportunity to gain recognition for capturing a merman, Zhao Ling successfully trapped Cheng Yi and Nonazo. Soon after, the Eternal Princess appeared among them. However, their strategy was easily uncovered. Silently, Kong Ming defeated the soldiers of the Ling Huang clan and freed the imprisoned members of the Fox clan. Cheng Yi and Nonazo's plan unfolded perfectly, leaving Zhao Ling and the Eternal Princess powerless. Filled with hatred and anger, Cheng Yi vowed to take revenge for his father's murder and the sealing of the Eastern Sea Palace. Not wanting to see the Eternal Princess die, Zhao Ling sacrificed himself to protect her from Cheng Yi's sword. Sensing danger threatening the Eternal Princess, the Eternal King, King Ning, cast a sealing spell to stop Cheng Yi and save the Eternal Princess, Sun Dai. Since Cheng Yi's spiritual energy was still weak, King Ning easily thwarted him and rescued the Eternal Princess. The next day, Nonazo reunited with the Fox King, his biological father. Witnessing Cheng Yi's kindness in freeing the Fox King, the Fox clan decided to join him in opposing the Eternal King. However, Cheng Yi fainted from the immense pain he was experiencing. Even from afar, Yunhai felt his suffering. Their bond remained unbroken despite the distance. To repay Cheng Yi's kindness, Nonazo sought his father's permission to transfer his spiritual energy to restore Cheng Yi's shattered spiritual core using his highest spiritual technique. Days passed amidst complications. In his heart, Cheng Yi missed and worried for Yunhai's safety. Despite his body and soul being injured, Cheng Yi's loyalty remained unwavering. "Drink your coffee to keep your heart strong," he murmured. Unable to endure the Eternal King's cruelty any longer, Cheng Yi and Kong Ming proposed to the Fox King to raise the banner of war, ending the suffering endured by the worldly immortals. They carefully planned, knowing their enemy was far from ordinary. Worried, the Fox King advised Kong Ming and Cheng Yi to seek the King Sen goddess, the Blue Phoenix Immortal, to join their alliance. Hearing this plan, Kongming journeyed to Mount Lutao, where the King Sun goddess was said to reside. The goddess, not wanting to see Lin Sun turn to ash, used part of her spiritual energy to allow Lin Sun to return to human form, longing for her lover. Silently, Lin Sun followed San Yu, who felt betrayed. Still heartbroken, San Yu pointed her sword at Lin Sun, unleashing her pain. Out of love and devotion, Lin Sun offered her spiritual core to San Yu as proof of her loyalty. She refused, claiming that the mountain cat she once knew had died during the tenfold ceiling tragedy. Feeling ignored, Lin Sun returned to her homeland to start anew with her clan. Learning of Lin Sun's departure, San Yu was filled with sadness and regret, as she still loved her deeply. Along the way, Lin Sun encountered Kongming, who was searching for the hidden King Sun goddess. Lin Sun refused to give up, leading to a confrontation. San Yu intervened to stop the fight. Upon recognizing her death ice seal, Kongming realized that San Yu was from the Wanhua Valley. Explaining his mission to recruit King Sun against the Eternal King, Kongming convinced them to join his struggle. With their help, Kongming found the sacred place of King Sun on Mount Lutao. Meanwhile, Nanazo also arrived there to ally with King Sun. After lengthy negotiations, King Sun finally agreed to join their cause. The next day, King Sun gathered at the northern cliff, where the united clans assembled. Cheng Yi devised 3 attack strategies, dividing the forces for maximum efficiency. The long-awaited day arrived, and King Sun rendered the Eternal Princess powerless. Fortunately, the Eternal King saved the Eternal Princess just in time. According to the plan, King Sun held off the Eternal King to allow for a successful attack. Inside the palace, San Yu executed her mission, freeing the prisoners by disguising herself as an envoy from the Eternal King. Using her wits, San Yu succeeded. Realizing the chaos outside, Yunhai shattered King Ning's seal with her renewed spiritual power, but was stopped by the Eternal Princess. As Yunhai prepared to strike, King Ning's seal suppressed her strength. The Eternal Princess launched another fiery whip attack, but Yunhai deflected it. Exhausted, she dropped her sword, wounding the Eternal Princess. Furious, the Eternal Princess approached Yunhai, but Kongming intervened, throwing the Eternal Princess back. He vowed to make her feel the pain endured by the worldly clans. As Cheng Yi left the Eternal Palace, he was stopped by Cheng Yun's forces. However, Kongming's token of loyalty clarified their intentions. Realizing the danger to the Eternal Princess, Cheng Yun summoned palace troops to rescue her from captivity. Amidst the chaos, Hawking found himself trapped, battling the Eternal King to protect the Wanhua Valley from the Death Ice Seal. However, the Fox King and his troops prevented Hawking from saving the Eternal Princess, demanding accountability for the suffering of the worldly beings. The Eternal King retaliated by absorbing the spiritual core of the Fox clan. The Fox King sacrificed himself to save his clan. In a desperate state, the Eternal King ordered a mass slaughter of the worldly clans, which was only halted by King Chun from the Eternal Realm. King Chun, revealing a brotherly bond with the Eternal Princess, enforced his command with a golden token from the Heavenly Emperor, compelling obedience. Ultimately, Yunhai was imprisoned in the distant northern sea to prevent future threats, ensuring the Eternal King's reign continued. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any more exciting videos. See you in the next content.